My name is Layla Sonyer. I'm a resident of Verona and part of the leadership of the Verona Action Team. We held this event because we know that every election matters. We have seen how the relationship between the town of Verona and its neighbors, including the city of Verona, has an impact on all of us. We also know that there are issues specific to the town that need illumination. Our goal this evening is to get to know the candidates for this race, learn where they stand on the issues for the community, and provide a way for you to reach out to them if you have additional questions. We are joined tonight by Phyllis Wiederhoeft and Kirsten Witte, two of the candidates for the open seats for Town of Verona Supervisor. Deborah Paul was not available for this date when contacted over 4 weeks ago, and Mike Durst declined our invitation at that time. Tonight's event will cover questions submitted by town residents. Because we have limited time, we are not able to offer interactive Q&A. If you do have additional questions or need clarification on the things you learned tonight, we do encourage you to reach out to the candidates directly using the information provided on the slides. In addition, this presentation will be available on our YouTube page at youtube.veronaactionteam.org. In the format tonight, each candidate will have 15 to 20-minute window to answer questions. There will be opening remarks, 3 questions, and closing remarks. Candidates will be asked the same questions. Joining us first is Phyllis Wiederhoeft. Thank you for joining us this evening, Phyllis. In 2 to 3 minutes, please tell us a little bit about yourself and why you are running for the Town of Verona Board position.
Thank you for hosting this forum to begin with, so that we can have this chance to share our positions and cares and our views about the town of Verona to a broader audience. I have lived in the Madison area for 47 years and have been a town of Verona resident for nearly 32 years. Our daughters both went to Verona Public Schools. I've been actively involved in school activities and Good Shepherd Lutheran Church and Verona Area Community Theater. We live in the southeast corner of the town, and we have a sizable vegetable garden and have planted most of our lot in prairie and woods. Some of the things I've done since retirement is taking time to volunteer with Madison Cap Project, which is a shelter for kitties who need some love and attention. I recently started playing pickleball and have organized 2 groups that play regularly in Verona. Jim and I both hike and bike, and our goal of visiting all national parks has been just about halfway achieved. We've gone to 39 so far. Being involved in nonprofits all my career, and most recently as an executive director, I consider myself a professional listener, a planner, an organizer, and administrator. I'm good at working with people to identify problems and find practical solutions. I delight in matching people's interests with leadership roles on committees and boards. I have held and still hold some leadership roles within local, national organizations, still staying involved, obviously, especially in the town of Verona. I am running for re-election because the changes that are affecting our township continue at such a rapid pace that I want to continue navigating the challenges, especially as growth and development in the town impacts public works, administration, and involvement of the residents. I intend to continue addressing road repairs and public safety issues such as dangerous intersections, and I want to coordinate planning and problem solving with our neighboring municipalities through such things as border road agreements. I hope that we make land use decisions that future residents will view in a positive light. I'm working toward preserving natural features of our township by developing local guidelines and seeking input from all of the residents. I've been going door to door canvassing and have gotten to quite a few houses already. And I believe that is helping. My final reason for running again is that I want to communicate openly with town citizens so that they are engaged and informed and encouraged to participate at the town level.
Thank you. In the town of Verona, there are programs available to landowners that support the preservation of agricultural lands and other important natural resources. Can you share your thoughts about the benefits or concerns of such programs?
Sure. Right now, there really aren't very many options available to landowners who want to preserve agricultural and natural resources. There are some state and county agricultural preservations, and most of the residents who have chosen to participate in those plans live in the southwest corner of the town. However, purchase of development rights, or PDR, is being considered by the NRAC committee as a possibility of a new program to help conserve and preserve. It's something that other townships have used successfully to protect thousands of acres, and it helps out younger generations who possibly will inherit or want to continue or purchase acreage for farming, large or smaller operations. PDR is a volunteer program that will require a lot of education of town residents. And ultimately, we're going to have a referendum to pass, which would allow the town to begin collecting revenue specifically designated for purchasing development rights for valuable cropland and parkland. PDR requires a long-term vision. So even if it was passed tomorrow, the town would not see the effects for years to come. But if we do nothing, portions of the town will continue to be annexed and developed until the town is converted from a place with desirable rural characteristics more into a bedroom community of Madison and Verona. I believe I'm a strong leader and am willing to tackle tough issues by establishing things like PDR and other programs that may not be the most popular or may take a long time to get fully implemented, but I want to work on those long range tasks so that I can try to ensure the next generations that they can experience the same wonderful lifestyle that the town provides now. I'm concerned that if we don't act now, climate and environmental impacts are not going to treat town of Verona residents favorably. Even if we do act now, we're still going to face annexation and loss of precious agricultural and natural lands, but at least we can slow down the loss and preserve more.
Thank you. Housing developments are popping up in the town of Verona. In this situation, some land is being taken from the town through annexation. Can you suggest and describe any zoning changes that would support your commitment to the town?
Unfortunately, towns are not able to stop annexation unless we could get to a large enough population where we could change from being a town to a village or a city. That's what Fitchburg did a number of years ago, and it's a powerful entity that is alongside the eastern portion of the town of Verona. And just the other night, the town board passed a land use ordinance, which I oppose in its current version. So I want to continue to work diligently to make it as strong an ordinance as possible to protect such unique features as steep slopes, natural and native vegetation, and wooded acreage. Stormwater issues are another factor that we need to be concerned about because we in the town are bisected by the Sugar River watershed. And it's not just our own well water that we should be concerned about, but we need to think about how we are affecting that entire watershed by what we do with stormwater and retention ponds. because we are a part of a larger community network. Another result of the pandemic is that resurgence of interest in hiking and biking and other outdoor activities. And we are fortunate enough to have in our town the National Ice Age Trail meandering through it. For new developments, and possibly even for some already established developments, we should actively work to set aside open space for all town residents and to work towards connecting new trails to the already established areas.
Thank you. Are the current needs of the town of Verona being met through available income streams? If not, do you have ideas to share about how these needs could be met?
There are not many revenue streams available to a township other than taxes and charging for services. So every time I encounter somebody who complains about the high taxes, I listen to what's really behind that complaint. Often it is that the person just doesn't like what the taxes are being used for. So then I have the opportunity to discuss the PDR program and that it would add to taxes, but generally the reaction has been that for preservation and conservation, the taxpayer is agreeable to that issue being covered by their taxes. Or take another one, brush collection is another example where people are moving into the township and they're especially perhaps accustomed to city services and they expect to receive similar services. Well, how do we pay for that? Again, when I have suggested that we can work on providing them brush collection, but they might need to pay for it, they are willing to consider that. So that's kind of a fee for services. Obviously, roads are probably the one of the most visible provisions of town services that residents experience daily. And serving as the chairperson for the Public Works Committee, I am abundantly aware of the poor conditions of some of the roads and the high need for repair. But with the limits set by the town's budget, we're able to repair only a few roads at a time. The Public Works staff has explored options for additional funding, and they have worked on setting out a 10-year plan that tries to address repairing all 42 miles of road. And what I really appreciate is the philosophy of that staff, that it's better to do timely maintenance than to wait until the deterioration is so bad that repair ends up being much higher in cost. So perhaps a question to town residents could be how willing they would be to raise their taxes if the roads could be repaired sooner. Sharing information about how their money is spent is helpful, but they also need to know that many portions of their tax bills are out of the town's control, such as the taxes that go to the school district or Madison College or Dane County. So all of this is to say that it's not going to eliminate all of the complaints about high taxes, but at least it should reassure our residents that their voices are being heard.
Thank you. Do you have other ideas to share with us and your potential constituents at this time? Please share anything else you would like the residents of the town of Verona to know about you and your support for their interests.
Sure, I think the two main concerns for me are the growth in the town of Verona, and it may seem inevitable, but it really doesn't have to be at the expense of natural features that can help us curb or slow climate change. And we also want to be able to have good land use programs and policies in place that can enhance our hiking and biking trails and ultimately create a community that relies on one another. And the second thing that I really am very concerned about is the involvement of our residents in our leadership in our governance. All my work life, I've really developed a strong rapport working with volunteers. And even I always hear this, well, people just don't volunteer anymore. But I know that if we do some good, strong, and frequent communication, and we can do short-term assignments, that works well for getting people involved. Because when they feel that they're listened to, that the decisions that are being made are made openly and consistently, all forms of government, including the most local level that there is at the township, we all really benefit from a solid democracy. So I firmly believe that there are many things we can change in the system to get more residents involved, to help them feel valued, and to create a pipeline for more contested elections. I don't mind having an opponent because it helps me articulate my positions, which I believe resonate with a good portion of the town. As I have been going door to door and have had time to be able to speak with people, I'm really energized by the interest that people have in their township. So I ask that I can be given another term to continue changing that system into a more transparent and responsive government.
Thank you, Phyllis, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Kirsten Witte is our next candidate. Kirsten, in 2 to 3 minutes, please tell us a little about yourself and why you are running for the Town of Verona Board position.
Thank you so much. First, I just wanted to thank you for hosting this. It's really great to be able to share my opinion and why I'm running for the board with a larger audience. My husband, Eric, and I met in high school. He moved to the Madison area after college, and I followed after we got married. We have 2 small children who we look forward to attending the Verona Public Schools. I've lived in the Madison area now for around 8 years, and we moved to the town of Verona in 2019. I grew up in a small farming town very similar to Verona and wanted the same experience for my children. We found a beautiful home in the southeast corner of Verona and decided it was a great fit for us. This beautiful rural community, space to grow and raise our family, is such a wonderful part of Wisconsin. Our home is from the 1890s. It's on a beautiful piece of land. We are surrounded by trees and have a small prairie that we're working to restore. Since moving here, we have established a large garden, taken up beekeeping, and are looking forward to getting chickens. We are lucky to have a beautiful old barn on our property that we're also working to restore. I'm a trained massage therapist and worked in medical billing for many years. When I moved to the area, I joined Capital Physical Therapy in their front office staff. But when my daughter was born, I chose to stay home with her. My son was born at the end of January this year, and the past 2 years have really changed our lives a lot, and I'm sure it's changed everyone's lives. So moving here prior to the pandemic was a blessing. All the trails, walking trails, biking trails have been wonderful when we are able to get out and enjoy the beautiful nature around us. I'm running for town supervisor because I want to bring a fresh perspective to the board while honoring the things that make the town of Verona a wonderful place to live. Over the past year, I've taken a greater interest in the expansion and growth that is happening to our township. I started to attend Plan Commission meetings and town board meetings regularly to get a better understanding of how our town government works and how our town leaders are handling development and the pressures of growth. I studied the town's comprehensive plan and read what the census responses were on people's vision for what the town should be. I found myself wanting to take an active role in aligning the comprehensive plan and residents' input with the policies and practices of the town board. I see a need for our leadership to be invested in our community and to look ahead to see what our town will look like in the next 10 to 15 years. I want to work towards making the town of Verona a place that we are all proud to live for decades to come.
Thank you. In the town of Verona, there are programs available to landowners that support the preservation of agricultural lands and other important natural resources. Can you share your thoughts about the benefits or concerns of such programs?
Currently, there are not many options for landowners who are looking for ways to preserve their land for agricultural or conservation reasons. Selling their land as one parcel instead of larger or smaller parcels, or saying no to annexation are some of the only ways available currently to landowners in the town. I believed that purchased development rights is one way that could be used to help preserve the land for future farming and preservation needs. As a town supervisor, I would work closely with the NRAC committee, which has already researched possible stewardship programs for preserving our open spaces. I would look forward to meeting with other Dane County townships that have successfully used purchased development rights, such as Dunn and Dunkirk, to learn what those programs how those programs have been successful in their towns, so that we can use the knowledge to pursue our own plan in earnest. I would also meet with leaders of neighboring towns to learn what strategies they have used to enable profitable agriculture practices while accommodating new residents. I would like to use the successes of other towns to inform and inspire our future policy.
Thank you. Housing developments are popping up in the town of Verona. In this situation, some land is being taken from the town through annexation. Can you suggest and describe any zoning changes that would support your commitment to the town?
Regretfully, there is no current way for a town to stop annexation. We as a town would need to grow larger in population to change our town into a city or village, which would then make us strong enough to say no to other municipalities who are looking to annex town land. I see the changes that have happened and are currently in process, and I am saddened by the rapid pace that these changes are taking place. The character of our town is changing more quickly than most of our community would like. I believe that growth is necessary to keep our autonomy and to stop the annexation that threatens us from all sides. We need to make smart, thoughtful decisions on the growth that we allow. If we grow too quickly without thinking about what those changes will look like in 10 to 15 years from now, we will easily give up what makes the town of Verona a special and beautiful place to live. If I'm elected, I would work to make a land use ordinance that includes mechanisms to assure the addition of open spaces from development and the preservation of our town's natural resources. I will push for reconsideration of boundary agreements with our neighboring municipalities to attempt to prevent the rapid annexation. I'd like to see new developments require regular stormwater inspection to make sure that current residents and the environment are not adversely affected by new home construction. The town of Middleton currently requires yearly inspections. The choices we make in our town also affect the surrounding communities. We all need to work together to make sure that we have safe water for drinking and recreation. I would work to create and connect a trail network throughout the town for future residents' enjoyment, and to interconnect prairies along the trails that we already have and new and forming trails. I'd also like to connect our trails with other communities so that we have a larger recreational trail path that would connect us to our neighbors. I'd like it to be a pride and something that would assure our property maintains its, oh, sorry, I'm just blanking here. One of the most important changes I will pursue is a concerted effort to honor our current comprehensive plan. The plan says that the town is going to do all the things I've mentioned, from preserving agricultural land, natural resources, and scenic view sheds to interconnecting trails. I believe words and actions matter, and I will work to hold the town board accountable.
Thank you. Are the current needs of the town of Verona being met through available income streams? If not, do you have ideas to share about how these needs could be met?
In a township, there are not many options for additional revenue other than taxes and charging for services. The future of the town is all about balance. Balanced growth can help us sustain our finances while preserving the town we love. Let's look at our budget carefully and compare our costs with those of other towns. According to the Dane County mill rate for municipalities 2019, the town of Verona had the highest tax rate in the entire county. Let's look carefully at our budget. Let's compare our costs with our neighboring municipalities. What are the others doing that our town is not doing? What could our town be doing better to limit tax increases and to maximize our current resources? As our town loses land to annexation, such as the 150 acres from Marty Farm, and to the city of Madison's proposed 600 acre neighborhood in the same northwest corner in the town, we have to look harder for new revenue sources. Can we maximize the use of our existing infrastructure, like where we have water and waste treatment systems near to bring commercial enterprises? Can we infill residential areas near existing city services? A concerted effort in this area would minimize the loss of protected farmland and valuable natural resources. Let's also look carefully at the costs of growth. The creation of subdivisions costs staff time. Construction vehicles damage our roads and repairs are costly. One of the town's greatest expenditures by far is our public works. We are lucky to have a terrific public works staff, but we do have the very big township. The town has to maintain 42 miles of road, and as we grow, there will be increased cost for road repairs, road maintenance, and plowing. Also, new residents require new services. What will be our increased cost for the senior center based on our population growth? For EMS, as we add new subdivisions, we have to acknowledge that new residents will require more staff time and will want new services such as brush collection. The future of our town's finances is about balance. It's time to think creatively and make use of technology to improve our records and decision-making to give our citizens an even greater value for their tax dollars.
Thank you. Do you have other ideas to share with us and your potential constituents at this time? Please share anything else you would like the residents of the town of Verona to know about you and your support for their interests.
I believe that a strong town is only as strong as all of its members. And I think that encouraging town forums to foster citizen involvement. I want to be the voice of our community. I want to learn about the issues that affect everyone's interests for the new and long-term residents. I would like to make it a point to share openly the work of the town board. There are many competing interests and challenges around us, and we need to work together to find solutions. I want to make sure that we are as transparent as we can be, making sure that people feel that they can come to town board meetings and committee meetings to really make their voice known, so that they feel connected and a part of our town government. Going door to door, I feel like some people really are passionate about the town and what they stand for. And some people seem very disconnected and just really don't have any idea of what they're looking for. So I'd really love to foster that feeling of community, to strengthen our community through everyone just taking a little bit of their time to make sure that they're aware of what's going on and make their feelings and views known to those that are sitting on boards and committees. If I'm elected, I would just love to make sure that I'm the voice of everyone in our town.
Thank you. And thank you, Kirsten, for joining us tonight. Phyllis and Kirsten are running for one of two open seats. They are running in a non-partisan election, and they are not running against each other. Neither of their opponents agreed to be with us tonight. As you know, we could not take questions, so we are once again providing you with the contact information for the candidates who joined us this evening. This interview can also be found on the Verona Action Team YouTube channel at youtube.veronaactionteam.org, probably within the next couple of days. Election Day is Tuesday, April 5th. You can visit myvote.wi.gov to receive an absentee ballot in the next 2 weeks, vote early at the town hall, or vote on election day in person. Contact the town clerk, Teresa Witte, at 608-845-7187 for available hours for early voting in person. We encourage you all to stay engaged in Wisconsin elections and make a plan to vote. Thanks again for joining us tonight.